Okay, ladies, welcome to our Fear to Freedom Formula webinar today, where we're looking at how we can empower Christian women to live a life that is aligned with the will of God for them. I'm really happy that you took the time to be here. For those of you who are on Zoom with us, the rest of you who would like to join us on Zoom who registered, you could actually join us because your spot is secured, so that if you want to be in there to really type your questions live in our chat, you can be there. And for anybody else, if you didn't register or you registered after that first 100 ladies, then of course you can join us live there on Facebook and you can put in your questions there. And my assistant Corey is going to help to redirect any of the questions that you have. But we are happy. So for those of you who secured your spot on Zoom, just jump in on that call here with us. Let's say a prayer before we actually get started, so that we can dive into our webinar for today. Father, we are grateful for this opportunity that we have to come together as your daughters from all over the world. We ask that you would be with us, that you would give us the right mindset and everything that we need to be able to soak in whatever we are learning, and also to be able to make it practical in our lives. We praise you and thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen. I just want to take this opportunity to welcome some of the ladies. I know that we have here with us, we have Beatrice from Kenya. We have Claudia all the way from Nottingham in the UK. We have Janice in Toronto, Nikki in Cayman Islands. We have Lady joining us all the way from France, Charlene all the way from St. Lucia, Wendy, she's also joining from St. Lucia. We have Geralda joining from St. Lucia, Macrina joining from St. Lucia. And these are some of the ladies that we have live on the call with us here on Zoom. And so if you're in, just let us know where you're from, and so I could just acknowledge you. But I'm excited that you have made the time to be here, and let me just get us really set up here. So my name is Dr. Nadine Collins, and you're in the right place. Let me just set up everything here to make sure that we are good to go. I'm going to share my screen with you, ladies. We have Gina from Brooklyn, New York. Gina, we are happy to have you here with us. And so, ladies, welcome to our Fear to Freedom formula, where we're looking at empowering Christian women to live in alignment with their true purpose. And so I am Dr. Nadine Collins, and you are in the right place. I really want to share this with you. I'm not sure how it's going to work out here. Okay, we have you right here on the screen. I may have to stop sharing if we're having a little challenge here. So I am Dr. Nadine Collins, and you are in the right place if you really, you want to move from fear to freedom and understand why uncovering your true purpose is the ultimate way for you to create a fulfilling, impactful, and successful life. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend the next 60 to 75 minutes with me. And today I'm going to show you how you can, how you can use some simple, practical, and proven steps to help you uncover your true purpose, so that you can make the shift from fear to living in freedom, so that you can live a life that is aligned with the will of God for you. Many of you on the call, you are either my students, customers, and clients, or even ladies from my Facebook group. But if you have not been exposed to me or to my work, I just want to share with you a little bit of who I am and why you should stay on the call with me today. So after completing my doctoral studies ahead of time, of course, ahead of my planned schedule, and doing that with distinction, and I had a fantastic offer, which is what I call my dream job, to work at a higher education institution and to take up an administration, doing a job that I actually love and I'm good at. But instead, I chose to answer the call by God to serve in an area that was totally outside of my academic training at all educational levels. And I remember the first time, I got that official international call to speak at a church. I was actually, before that, taking on speaking engagements from time to time but little speaking engagement. It was nothing big. And so I was on vacation in London right after I finished my doctoral studies. And one of my pastor friends reached out to me and he asked me to speak at his church for a major service. And I thought to myself, well, he must have lost his mind because I'm not sure I actually heard him correctly. So I was really afraid because I'm thinking to myself, I didn't study theology. He knew that I had recently completed my doctoral studies in the area of educational administration, but here he's asking me to preach. And so I thought, no, this must be crazy. And this is a big program. This is not just like, okay, just come speak at my church for a Wednesday night service or something like that. So I felt, after, of course, a lot of contemplation and so on, and, because of certain agreements I made with God before, I felt literally compelled to say yes. But the thing is, I did not know what I was going to speak about. I did not know where I was even going to begin, how I was going to write that sermon. I did not know how I was going to greet the church. But the call had been answered, and now I know that I had to step into the unknown. I know that I had to step outside of my comfort zone and officially do something that I have never done before and that would change the rest of my life. And that is how I actually discovered that in order for me to be successful as a Christian woman, I needed a few key factors in place. First, I needed to understand that I had a true purpose, that God had a calling on my life, and my purpose matters. I also needed to understand and uncover what that true purpose was. And it was at that particular stage of my life, because I had been seeking God, what is my purpose for the now? I need to know. And so I had to understand and uncover what that true purpose was for this phase and stage of my life. And then I needed to build a life around that purpose. The thing is, you must have all three of these in place in order for you to live a life that is aligned with the will of God for you. So some other key elements that really transformed my life and moved me from fear to freedom was actually knowing that I may not always or ever have everything in place for me to move or for me to do things, but I needed to step out in faith anyhow. And so some of these elements I was practicing even before I was fully aware of what that true purpose was, at least for that phase of my life. Because the truth is, I worked for 9 years after high school before I attended college. I did not go earlier because I was afraid of failure. I was also afraid because I really did not have the finances. I did not have anyone to guarantee a loan for me. And I make a joke out of it myself because I was working at a financial institution. I was working at a bank, but I could not afford a loan. And so I make a joke out of it now. But the thing is, I was afraid because I had nobody who could take the loan for me, guarantee a loan for me. I didn't have parents who could have afforded to pay for college for me. And so after 9 years, I decided, when God again placed that great impression on my heart that I needed to head off to college, I decided to go. I still did not have the finances, but what I had in those 9 years was a faith that would take me there. And so I did not go with finances. Actually, I went in faith and so on. And I recognized at that point that financial resources that I did not have at the time could not prevent me from accomplishing my dreams if I took action. I recognized that if I had to deal with the fears that I had of the unknown, because I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for the next year and the next year, and that was something that was weighing on my heart, I had to go in and deal with the fear of the unknown, choose to act in faith, and then depend on God fully by trusting that He had me every single step of the way. And even though I realized that I needed that faith and I needed to just step out and take action. I found that for a long time, I just could not break through the mentally constructed glass ceiling. And I'll tell you, ladies, a little more about that later. I realized that I needed to be intentional in how I made decisions, how I dealt with that fear of the unknown, and so on. And so over the years, I've learned that I could not wait for opportunities to come to me. I had to create them. I realized that it was nothing that was external to me that would allow me to begin to live in my dreams, but instead, it's whatever was happening in my head. That mentally constructed glass ceiling was that was living in my subconscious mind that was messing with my success and where I know I needed to be because of where God wanted to place me. It was that mentally constructed glass ceiling that I discovered while studying women in top leadership. And it was preventing me from accessing the life that that I know was destined by God for me. And it was the one thing that was blocking me, and it was inside of me. And so I had to work on shattering it. Honestly, it was not easy work because I had to be intentional about making certain shifts in the way that I think, in the way that I took action, and in the way that I was showing up. And so that made a difference for me. And that is what led me to actually develop a system that actually works to help other Christian women. It is what led me to develop simple but effective processes. And I developed an effective 8-step process that many women who are in the same position today that I was all these years ago are able to experience quick transformation and living the life that they desire. So if you're a woman who desires to open up your own business, for example, or ministry, or you want to launch your speaking platform, or you want to write your world-class book, or you already have a business, but you're desiring to have greater impact, you want to have greater success, or you have tried to run your own business before, but you failed because you did not have maybe the right mindset, you didn't have the right systems in place. Actually want to share with you that I'll officially be launching the Runway to Soar Coaching Experience, where I will take you step by step through exactly what you need to do to get you from the point of uncovering your true purpose, dealing with these fear factors that are hindering you, developing that winning a wow mindset, understanding how you can stand out in the marketplace to get you to that point where you could actually launch your business, launch your product or your service that is aligned with your true purpose and practically change your life overnight. So today I'll just share with you for a little bit, take you through my 8-module program and answer some of your questions. And if you decide you're ready to soar, then I'll show you how you can take the next step. But let's see the big picture, right? How can you move from fear to freedom? What is your true purpose? Because these are some of the things that are actually bothering women. As I interact with women every day, they're like, I know there's something more, I know I'm meant to do something, but I'm really not sure what my true purpose is. So living in your true purpose, it's really about living a life that is zeroed in on what God has created and destined you for. And I know somebody may argue with me and say, we don't have one purpose. But the truth is, in Jeremiah 1 verse 5, the Bible says, God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you. So many of us sometimes as women, we do not realize that we have a true purpose. And that true purpose matters because he says, I appointed you, I set you apart for something special, for something unique, for something great. So living in your true purpose is living a life that may include sometimes the things that you are most passionate about, or sometimes the things that you're willing to die for, or what you believe that you're meant to do. Whether you're being paid for it or not, you're saying, I am so excited about this, and I believe it's aligned with my purpose, and I still enjoy doing it. I get fulfillment from doing it. I wake up every day excited about it, and I know that I'm making a difference. So that's kind of where the true purpose lies. And so there's value in uncovering it, because when you uncover that one thing for which you have been born, that one thing that you have been set apart for, that you have been destined to do, because it's living on the inside of you, it's growing on the inside of you. That's why this year I was going to launch a Pregnant with Purpose campaign for women, because every single one of us have this thing that we've been set apart for, that's growing on the inside. It's when you are able to uncover what that thing is, that little nudge that you're getting, because it's there inside of you, it will cause you less stress, because you are doing what you love. You are doing what will give you greater freedom, because you are building a life around it. You will have greater impact because you are living authentically. You don't have to put on a false persona for you to be able to make your impact, because what you are doing is coming from the inside of you. You're not a surrogate. You're actually the mother. You're the one carrying it. It's yours. It's growing, and you're the one who's going to give birth to it. And so it's much more authentic for you in making impact when it is you're doing what is on the inside of you, what God has placed there for you. You don't have to recreate, or as an imposter kind of person for you to be able to do what you're meant to do. And I remember clearly that day that I made a decision that I was going to change my life and position myself to discover my God, to deliver my God-given purpose. I remember that day clearly because I was literally driving from a speaking engagement between Austin and San Antonio, two speaking engagements. And while I was driving, I had this overwhelming thought that this was my time. I had this feeling and this urge that this was my moment and I needed to take action. Mind you, that kind of happened because I was having lunch with a friend in Austin, and she's an executive coach, a high level executive coach. And she was asking me a lot of questions, and I didn't have the answers. And she was trying to help me reframe these questions. I asked her what her charges were, and they were very high. But I had this call with another coach. And so when I was driving, I decided I'm going to reach out to that one. So I had a few failed attempts because I was trying in between, these traffic lights. And so finally, when I got it, I had this great sense of relief because I had just taken a giant leap of faith by simply making that call. At the time, I did not have the financial resources, but I knew that I had to take that leap of faith or else I would be stuck living a life that was great, that I was appearing successful to people on the outside, but I know that I was not necessarily bringing out my best. I know that I was not giving birth to what I was supposed to give birth to. I know that I was not living fully the life that God had intended for me. And so I had to make that decision, as I've made many other decisions on my life based on faith and not finances. I just knew that making that call, taking action, making the decision was taking action in my head. And I just said to her, I need your services. When I did that, essentially, I was finalizing my decision, and all of that was taking me closer to living in my true purpose. And I believe that that decision or making any decision is taking action in your head. Tony Robbins actually said that as soon as you commit to making something happen, the how will reveal itself. Now, I've actually prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you ladies, but I'm having a little challenge being able to access it here with you on the screen. But the thing is, when I read that from him, I knew that was my moment. Because when you truly commit to making something happen, you make a decision in your head, everything else seemed to fall in line. And this happened to me repeatedly in my life. And many of you know my story. And so I've shared it so many times about just going to school and not knowing how I was going to make it. And then the how follows. It happened to me at every level. It happened to me in so many other ways. So how does your true purpose change your life? That might be your question for me, right? So when I made that call that day, it is because I understood a few things. I knew that, and I understood that if I got the right help, for example, and focus on building my life around my purpose, it would change everything for me. I had to believe that. It was really making a choice between purpose and prestige, because I had my dream job. I could have gone to the normal route, the route that everybody was expecting of me. It took people about 3 or 4 years to realize that I was actually going to do what I'm doing, because I was getting so many offers. Even this year, getting offers. Someone asked me about being a president of a university, but I had to choose. Not that I wouldn't make an impact there. I know I would, doing whether or not I was heading research, because I got many offers in that area at a university, or I was another administrator within a university setting. I know that I was going to make a difference. I know I would make an impact, but I had to choose between my purpose and my prestige, going outside of the expected route, not having that high status title, not having that consistent paycheck, not having to deal with also the bureaucracies of applications for vacation, for this and that. It was really for me about the unknown versus the known, about the safe versus the risk. And I took the risk. So instead of taking these jobs I know I'll be amazing at, where I know I would still make a difference, I decided to go with God and focus on living in my true purpose. I decided to focus on His calling. So do you need to have a sure and consistent stream of income? Of course. Who doesn't want that, right? Because we want to have access to our life. So we want to be able to have access to income. However, uncovering your true purpose and building a life around it is what really allows you to live a life of greater freedom, fulfillment, and impact. And that is the one thing I actually teach you how to do in my Runway to Soar Coaching program. And I'll tell you a little more about that later, right? But in this webinar today, I'll walk you through 3 components that can move you from fear to freedom. When you registered on that registration page, I had these 3 components there. It's the same process that I have used to help many women to uncover their true purpose. It's how you step outside the norm and what is expected of them, how they develop that fierce confidence so that they can step into the world offering a product or a service that is aligned with their true purpose, their calling, and their passion. So one of the things I'll do today on the call is take you behind the scenes to see what hinders more women from stepping out and what can be the turning point in your life if you're able to deal with these hindering factors, right? I'll also be answering more questions about how you can live in your true purpose. Plus, if you decide that you are ready to soar, I'll show you how you can take the next step with me and develop a life that is totally wrapped around your purpose, your passion, and your calling. But before we dive in, let me just say something really important. Because one of the most essential things that must be in place for you to live in your true purpose, for you to live your wow life, your dream life, is knowing and zeroing in on what that true purpose is. And then decide, what am I going to do when I discover what my true purpose is? What am I going to do when I discover what my wow factor is? Because your wow factor is actually the thing that sets you apart from every other person in the room and in the world, and that will make room for your success. It's a thing, the combination of your experiences in life, whether they're good ones or bad ones, whatever it is, your educational training or your lack of educational training, whatever your wow factor is, it means that whatever it is God said there in Jeremiah 1 verse 5 that he set you apart for, that wow factor is what is going to help you in presenting yourself to the world. It's very important that you have clarity on that and understanding why you're here. Because if you don't have an understanding of why you're here, society, culture, family, religion, people will tell you what they doing, or they will tell you who they think you need to be, or they will tell you how they think you should do this and that, and they will even define to you what success is. But that will not give you freedom. It will not bring you personal fulfillment. It will not bring you the peace that you are looking for. I find it so ironic. Every time that I have discovery calls with women, they always mention that aspect of fulfillment and peace because they're doing great things, but they're not feeling fulfilled and they're not feeling as if they have that peace. Because for me, it's like it's a misfit. You're not in the right spot yet. So I want you to stay to the end of this call because I'm going to reveal to you that 3-step formula that will give you great footing as you work on creating a life that is aligned with your true purpose. And it's taken directly out of my Runway to Soar coaching program. But I want you to stay to the end because I also have a free bonus I'm going to share with you about a formula that took me years to learn, thousands of dollars and lots of testing to perfect. And now it easily allows me to inspire and empower thousands of women I get to work with and the women I get to work with one-on-one in my coaching program. So uncovering your true purpose is not a once in a lifetime thing. I think I've mentioned that before in other training programs because your purpose may change or evolve over time. One of the greatest things I realized about God is that even though my purpose at different phases changed, it was all still interrelated. It was all still connected because as I share with you ladies all the time, no experience is lost. Everything that you have gone through in your life up to today, it's preparing you for you to be able to deliver your true purpose to the world. So uncovering it may not be a once in a lifetime thing. It will change or evolve over time. And that is why being connected to God in prayer, having that personal relationship is so important because that is where God actually would reveal to you what his desires are for you. So you have to be willing and open to allow him to guide you into that discovery and work to eliminate any threats that would prevent you from uncovering your true purpose. And so if you ladies are with me, just let me know that the information is really good, that you're connecting with it, that it's making sense. And I'm so sorry I'm not being able to, put on the screen our PowerPoint as we would usually do in our training programs. The thing is where most women get stuck is believing that they cannot make a change, that because they don't know what to do and how do you do it? You know, how do you create a life that is wrapped around your purpose? How do you ensure that your business is successful? And finally, how do you ensure that when you do launch, you stand out in the market and attract the right people? How do you do that? So today I'm going to share with you the three important ways in which you can move from fear to freedom so that you can live in your true purpose, because it is the thing that is fully aligned with the will of God for you. So first though, I want you to recognize, I cannot emphasize it enough, that there is such a thing as your true purpose, and you have one, and it matters. You have a true purpose and it matters. You are not here by chance. The calling that God have on your life, it's important. So it's the thing I realize for us as Christian women is it's really truly not your fault if you do not believe that yet, that you actually have a true purpose or know exactly what that true purpose is, because we were not socialized to think that way. We were not socialized to have that deep inquiry about what my true purpose is and how can I fulfill it in the world. And so let's jump in, into our real stuff here today. What is one of the biggest threats covering your true purpose or you living in your true purpose? It's the issue of indoctrination. It's one of the biggest threats to your true purpose, because you will not believe how much of what you are being taught to believe about yourself, about the role that you play, and how you have been going about living your life, how you've been going about making decisions, how you're going about taking risks. You will not believe how much of that is linked to what you've been indoctrinated to believe about who you are and what you're meant to do. In psychology, we have this phenomenon called illusory truth effect. And the illusory truth effect suggests that if you hear an unfounded statement often enough, you might just begin to believe that it is true. Essentially, right? If you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth. It's actually a law that they use in propaganda, and it's often attributed to a guy, a Nazi, Paul Joseph Goebbels, right? It's a tactic that politicians and advertisers exploit, because we have been processed to believe repeated statements, or whatever statements we hear more fluently, we have been processed to believe that it's true. So we mistake the feeling of fluency for a signal that the statement is true. And what's really sad for me is, as if it's our society and our churches and so on have done a good job, whether they have done it intentionally or not, to use this tactic to keep many women from living their dreams. It has hindered many women from even aspiring for greatness, because they believe that their role is simply to be a mom, a wife, a homemaker, a supporter of her husband and her kids, and so on. She cannot take top leadership positions. She cannot own her own business. She can't become a lady boss, because she was not meant to be in charge. She was not meant to be the head. And the irony is that type of indoctrination exists even in the minds of women who are in top leadership positions. So when I conducted my study on women in top leadership positions in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, one of the things that significantly differed from what secular women in top leadership, or I don't want to call the women secular, I'm saying secular in the sense that the universities are non-Christian universities. But these women in top leadership positions, when asked to give advice to the younger generation of women, they would say to the young women, you need to aspire to leadership. But in the women in top leadership in our church, what they say to you is, if you even desire to become a woman in top leadership, do not say anything. Because if you say anything, you will not get the position just by virtue of you saying it, by virtue of you expressing it. And so that was a significant difference in what I found with women working at secular universities versus women working at Seventh-day Adventist universities in the thought process, because we're indoctrinated to believe that we're not supposed to be in top leadership positions. Therefore, because you're not meant to do that because of your gender, you should not express your aspiration of that, even though you may be naturally skilled to be a leader, right? Even though you're naturally skilled to be an administrator, even though you have the perfect educational experience and training and gifts, you need to hide and mask or bury your genius because you're not meant to be here. And I personally believe that many of the world's solutions are in the hearts, hands, and minds of women who have been told that their job is to be on the sidelines. I don't know how many of you ladies have watched the movie Hidden Figures. If you have not, you need to look at it, because these women were so talented, so brilliant, that they wanted to make greater contributions, but because they were women and because they were Black, they were not being given the opportunity to be able to contribute to the solution. These women had to literally steal their way by trying to find their ways into the labs, doing all kinds of tricks so that they could actually help the men to get a solution. And that is why one of the most important keys for you to live in your true purpose is being willing to explore what are the indoctrinations that are holding me back. Explore how these indoctrinations have been guiding you in your decision-making process. Explore how these indoctrinations have been influencing what you think about yourself and what you think is possible for you. In my program, I actually take you through the process of identifying the indoctrinations and then give practical ways for you to get rid of them. Because once you get rid of this indoctrination, you just have to start thinking about what's next. How do I step outside of this way of living and step into a new dimension that sets me apart and clearly shows that I'm living the life that is meant for me? Now, while growing up, I used to think that finding a good job in the area that you love, or one of the ways that they teach us is you go into the government service, you see where they have the gaps or needs, right? And you choose an area in that particular space, or based on the needs in the country, and that way you're going to go and study, because that positions you, of course, to have a job and to make money, and that's success. But I have learned that doing well at something is not enough. Being able to have that income from me filling in a gap is not enough because it pays my bills. It's not enough to give me that peace, to bring me that fulfillment, and to give me the freedom that I'm desiring, that only comes when I'm living a life aligned with the will of God for me. And so what happens is that you must connect the dots between what your true purpose is, which is that one thing that's growing on the inside of you and aligned with the will of God for your life, so that the next logical step is for you to create a life around what that true purpose is. That is where you get the true freedom. That is where you get the fulfillment. That is where true success is experienced. But before we continue, let me just walk you through. And I really wanted you to see that. I'm going to try to see if I can share my screen for a little bit. I want to walk you through, because I'm having a challenge here, what that will actually look like. And I know that visual, sometimes it's best for us to see things, for us to be able to keep it in our minds. And so let's see if we can get to what that actually looks like for you. All right. So we have the pre-recorded coaching sessions. We have worksheets, we have forum discussions and so on in the membership area. And we have also an exclusive Facebook community. And so we have open registration today. We close registration on June 17th. The modules open on July 1. And these are what we'll be covering in them: building your strong foundation, eliminating the fear factors that are hindering you from soaring, shifting your mindset so that you can soar. Because mindset is really one of the key issues for women, especially Christian women, and what we've been taught to believe. We're talking about developing a powerful mission and vision statement, because that's going to give you a clear plan of action as you go ahead. We're looking at identifying who you will be serving, who your ideal clients are. And so we start with you, and then we talk about your ideal client, because you must be aware about critical things about yourself before you begin to think about who you're going to serve. How are you going to position yourself in the market for you to soar? We're looking at the winning strategies and tactics that you can use to soar on social media to give you the visibility and so on that you need, etc. And that so that you can actually attract these ideal clients we spoke about. And we're looking at utilizing the SOAR framework. So these are some of the things that we want to do. So that's what the experience is really going to look like. So this should give you an idea of how simple a process, it can be in these 8 modules, to how they will unravel. Because in my program, I actually delve deep into the issue of indoctrinations and how, and how you're going to deal with them. We have actually one module specifically dedicated to helping you uncover these indoctrinations and get rid of them because they are hindering you. I have a lot more to teach you today as we go through how you can move from that fear to freedom by firstly uncovering your true purpose. I cannot stress that enough. And then plan your life around it, because that is what is aligned with the will of God for you. But if you've seen the video testimonials of the ladies that the ladies that were being shared over the past few weeks, we had testimonials of these ladies right here on social media. If you've seen any of these video testimonials of my clients who actually went through the Runway to Soar coaching experience, if you watched any of the videos that I've done in the trainings, we sent out a few of the links for you so that you could actually look at, especially the last webinar that we did, which was about eliminating the fear factors. If you've watched any training that I have done, or you've read anything that I've written around purpose, I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about it, because I have a big juicy offer for you ladies today. That's the reason why I'm so excited about this webinar today. Because if you're ready to take action, you could actually now go over to Runway to Soar. If you're able to go over to Runway to Soar, my assistant Corey already put the link there for you in the chat section. If you are able to go over to runwaytosoar.com, you'll be able to register now, and I'll tell you about some of the bonuses that you will be rewarded with because you are a quick action taker. One of the things that I have learned in coaching women these past few years is that the women who take action quickly are also the women who actually show up ready to take more action. So the coaching experience with these women are very fruitful because every time they show up ready to take action. And so working with them is not that difficult, because one, we have God with us going through the process, and then they have the right attitude, the right mindset that I'm ready to move, I'm ready to take action, I need to make things move forward. And so I find that taking action is really a benefit for me in working with women who, the action-oriented kind of women. I truly believe that women sometimes fail. We sometimes fail because we give up too easily, too quickly in ourselves if things do not work out the first time. We give up too easily. We actually think that after first attempt, it failed, I can't do anything. I had to take so many years of working behind the scenes, so many years of working with coaches behind the scenes to help me to do what I had to do, to package God's brilliance in my life to serve women. And so sometimes we just give up way too easily. If you think about how kids learn, right? New concepts in school, they don't start learning algebra with quadratic equations. If you remember your experience in high school, we did not learn algebra by starting with quadratic equations. In fact, we were taught simple x plus y problems, and then later we were introduced to other layers of algebra based on the foundational knowledge that we had already gotten before. That's how kids learn. That's how we were also taught. So they don't get all the stuff right away. And the same thing may happen when you're working to make the big shift from fear to freedom. You have to deal with the root things first. Like, what is preventing me from being where I need to be in the first place? And I call that digging into your personal toolbox. That's why so many women get overwhelmed, because what they do is they watch other women, right? They see how these other women are doing or other people are doing, and all we do is try to replicate all of what they're doing. We want to try the first time, and without the previous experience of that, the foundational stuff or the proper systems in place, and it backfires because there's too much work and we don't have enough time or money to do what we want to do, and we get overwhelmed. So my encouragement is for you to take the necessary steps, dig in, eliminate these fear factors, begin to work on rewriting codes, everything that you need to do to get the confidence that you need to take your first step in 1,000 steps. I actually like the Chinese proverb that says the journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. And that's even the reason why I created the Runway to Soar Coaching Experience, to help you understand the dynamics that can move you to living a life that is fully liberated in your calling, so that you can make your impact in the world without being overwhelmed, and staying true to who you are and staying true to your purpose. And if that's making sense to you, you can put your, give me a thumbs up. Okay, Nadine, yes, that's making sense to me. I understand what you're saying, because we really need to be able to position ourselves like that. So the thing is, what I focus on is, or start with, is really building your strong foundation. Because as you prepare to build and establish yourself, you need to know and understand fundamental things about you. You need to know fundamental things about you, about how you think, because these are critical factors if you want to achieve great success. It makes no sense for you to want to serve people if you are having the very same challenges they are having and you have not gone through that process. And in fact, what actually makes what you do much more effective is when you can say, I have been through that. I know what that's like. And these are the steps that I took to help me to get to where I am today. So it's essentially you being able to connect with them, because you have been able to go through the situation and you come out on the other side in a very good way. And now you can help other women do that. So I'll show you how you can eliminate, for example, the fear factors that are hindering you by digging deep to uncover what are the roots of these fears, and give you practical strategies that can help you to eliminate the fears, but also master your fears. If you attended the last free masterclass that we had, or watch the replay, you realize that we spoke about how you can master fear and make fear work for you. So we actually covered that. We look at shifting your mindset. So I will work with you to shift your mindset, to prepare you for your new life, because mindset is everything if you desire to succeed. And so we examine these indoctrinations. We look at the beliefs. We look at the thought processes that are hindering you from advancing, and work intentionally to rewrite codes that you have been operating from subconsciously, because they are controlling you. And many times we do not know that as women, that we are operating literally on autopilot. A lot of what we do is so mechanic, based on what we've been indoctrinated to believe. And we touched on that. We look at marketing. And I'll show you how you can write powerful mission and vision statements so that you can announce to the world that you are here, because it will help people to understand what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. It's almost like I love this phrase in French called raison d'etre, like your reason for existence. Because having a powerful mission and vision statement is really saying to people, this is my reason for existence. And so then we look at identifying your ideal client. We want to identify who you're meant to serve, because it's a big part of your success. Understanding the minds, the needs, the dreams, and the desires of the people that you need to serve is very critical. And then we look at how you can position yourself in the marketplace, because lots of programs focus on sales and marketing, but I'm actually going to give you 3 specific strategies to make it easier for you to authentically attract the right people, to give you even and bring even more new people into your life, because that's really important, how you stand out. Then we look at the winning strategies on social media that you can use, because social media is here to stay, and it's a large part of how successful people do business. So we look at some of these winning strategies and tactics that you can use to help you stay visible. Visibility is important to help you be accessible and also desirable, so that you can soar there. And then finally, in the module 8, we actually bring it all together. We call it the SOAR framework. We examine the elements of SOAR, and you can use that to give it a final push. And so how is the program delivered? We have the pre-coaching videos, the pre-recorded coaching videos. You will have access to 1 video in each module. I will walk you through the simple steps you need to take as you prepare to soar. I love the video format, right? Because it allows me to really show you how to do something and help you think through the process, instead of just trying to wing a masterclass and so on, and trying to get my point across. So when I do the pre-recorded videos, I go into everything that you need to learn. We also prepared in-depth worksheets for you. I know you'll want to take intelligible notes. because the reason why I developed the worksheets is to help you to devise your winning action plan. So as you work through, you can work on a step by step, one phase at a time as you do each module, and that is part of what your actual master plan will be, or your action plan for your business. So you take time to go through each module and work on every assignment, because it's going to be part of your end product. And then we also have that private membership forum, right? So you will be able to connect with other like-minded women in the Runway to Soar group on Facebook. We already have the group, it's already active. We already have women there who have been working on their stuff. So when you get there, you're going to introduce yourself to these women, let them know where you're from, what you're meaning to do. You're never going to be alone, because you can ask for feedback from me, you can ask for feedback from them. And every time, if you want to launch your program, you can always run it by these ladies in the group, and we will be there alongside you. And this is one of the ways that can help you, because you're now surrounded with like-minded women, and you can always put in your stuff there. We had a client who was preparing to launch her book, and she put the covers in there so we can help her to choose, okay, which one of these covers might actually work best for me. And so the other thing is, I'm including some really valuable bonuses that will help you to uncover your true purpose and move you from fear to freedom. So again, you can go to that link that Corey puts in the chat, which is Runway to Soar. And I'll also tell you about a brand new bonus, because we have bonuses that we prepared for you, but we have this brand new bonus that we've prepared, which is of a 3-day workshop I was planning to offer for $297, but I decided to include her in the program to make this a real no-brainer for you. Now, when we're thinking about that second step, there is a way that you can get to living the life that you desire. And that's why the second component that we'll discuss now is about that wow mindset. So there's a guy by the name of Steve Maraboli. Let me just work on seeing if I can share with you again. So Steve Maraboli has a statement that I love very much, right? He says, let me try to get it to you ladies. Let's see if we can get it there. I'm having that challenge with my hand, so I'm not able to do things as quickly as I normally do them. So let's see. So Steve Maraboli says that once your mindset changes, everything else, everything on the outside will change along with it. Once your mindset changes, everything else changes with it, right? Most of us as women, we operate under a chain of false beliefs. And what hurts me is that we don't even know that these false beliefs exist, and they need to be eliminated, because we have a set of pre-programmed mental blocks that need to be broken down, and it has to do with the pre-programming and coding that continue to influence us because we are unaware of it. And so for some of us, it's like we think like, you know what? I was programmed to believe. And those of you who are from the Caribbean, I'm sure you can identify with me. And even those of you from Africa, because I've been there so many times, and there's similarities in how we think. And so we tell our children, if you go to school and you get a good education, then you're going to get a nice job that pays you well, and that means you are successful. If you can identify with that, you can raise your hand, because that's what we were taught. And so we were taught that our educational experience, I see hands being raised like crazy. Yes, because we were taught that. We were taught to believe that we need to have everything in place, for example, also for us to be able to make a step forward. So they're saying to us, you know, in order for you to do something, you need to have everything in place. You need to have the whole plan and everything. And I don't discount planning. I'm a big planner, and I totally believe in planning, actually. But I can tell you, you may not always have everything in place for you to do what you're meant to do, right? And so that's some of the false beliefs that we have. We're not sure if what we have to offer is valuable enough. I remember when I was running the beta program for the Runway to Soar, we actually saw that in some of the clients, they were saying, you know, I want to do this thing, but I'm not sure if it's a hobby or if it's something that's actually going to be valuable to other people. And so we were programmed to believe that doing something that we love, like our hobby, is not going to bring us success. It's just something you do on the side. That's why it's called a hobby. It's not your job. And so we were taught to believe that kind of stuff, that we cannot create a life around that. So one psychologist, Carol Dweck, in her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, she describes the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And I really love the work that she did there, because mindset, it's really the thing that hinders too many of us from being able to step into our life, the life that God intended for us, that our life for us, right? And so the growth mindset, she talks about people who have that mindset. They have that different belief system. With the growth mindset, they believe that their abilities, they believe that their talent and intelligence can be developed. And they believe that if they're dedicated and they do hard work, it's gonna be okay. But they're also more likely to enjoy learning because they're open to new experiences, and they seek out situations to experiment, and they see failure as an opportunity to grow. And so the growth mindset is the mindset that says to you, if I fail at something, it's okay, because that thing that I'm failing at right now, it's really going to teach me how I'm going to actually be a better person. And so that growth mindset is saying, okay, I want to do this, but I think that I need more skills. Let me sign up for this program. Yesterday, I had a client, a call with a potential client, and it was amazing. She said to me, Dr. Landine, I was doing this job, and I really believe that's my calling. Because from the time I was a little girl, I was doing it. But I believe that I needed more skills. So she stepped totally outside of her area of passion and believed that her purpose is there, and did a totally new job in a totally different sector. And she said she did all of the trainings that they had to offer. And now she has mastered that job. But guess what? Now that she has mastered that job and she has learned all of these other new things, she's thinking now of setting up her business. After we had that call, we go through what that could look like, because now she has all of the other tools that she needs to put in with the calling on her life, so that she can create a successful business. And so when you have that growth mindset, you are always seeking to develop. You're always looking for things that helps you to get to that next level. Now, the fixed mindset believe the total opposite. So they feel that, okay, I'm good at this thing. I'm born with this talent. I have this intelligence. I even have this interest. But these people are more likely, they're not likely to seek out opportunities and situations that are new, but they may look for opportunities and situations that would affirm what they're doing. So they will do the same job over and over again so that they can get the praise, oh, you're doing such a great job. And they believe that talent alone, this is my gift and not effort, is the source of success. If you're thinking about these two different mindsets, let us know in the chat. What kind of mindset are you identifying with? Are you, in that place where you're gifted and talented in this area, and every job you look for it, you are looking for it in that particular area because you want to do good at it, and you want to be able to hear, okay, you're doing a great job because you're so good at it, and you believe that your talent alone is enough, and you don't need to put effort in stepping outside of that. This is a growing space, and so we cool. So you're not being judged here, but it's just recognizing what mindset you have because of how we've been programmed. Because they did tell us growing up that if you're good at this thing, of course, or you're trained in this area, then you do that. And so you look for all of your experience in that area. I mean, that's how I used to think too, because that's how I was taught. And so I was an administrative assistant before I went to undergrad school. And then because of that, you'd always think, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, because you're thinking in just that one line. But the growth mindset looks for opportunities like that lady I spoke with yesterday that will help them grow and develop skills that are outside of where the natural talent is, right? But what we need to do is, if we have that fixed mindset, we have to break free of it. We have to get rid of it so that we can actually grow as women. Because many of us women, and that brings us to our third point, which is letting go of imposed expectations. What kind of hurts me is that many of us women are living lives trying to fit into the mold. We are trying to fit into the status quo. We are trying to fit into the norm. It's sometimes self-imposed. Other times it's society imposed, it's culturally imposed, it's religious imposed expectations. I remember working with a client in one of my programs a few years ago, And she was saying to me when she told her parents, because she went to university, the same university I went to, and she was doing a job or launched a business rather that was totally outside of her area of training, totally outside of anything that any of us would think that she should be doing. And she was saying to me when she told her parents what she was planning to do, her parents were like, "That's what you're going to do? That's what you went to school for?" And so the thing is, sometimes our family have expectations of us, right? They probably assisted us in going to college and they're expecting us to just get these big jobs. And so to them, when we don't do that, we're not living up to our full expectations. And so here are three things that you can do to help you actually deal with these imposed expectations. Number one, you need to reprogram intentionally. You need to begin to reprogram your mind for success. So you need to begin to write out daily affirmations based on your new codes. And I'm going to show you an example of how you can do that in a little bit. So you're going to write out some of these things. You're going to set specific goals and benchmarks for your achievement. You're going to have a clear and written spiritual vision for your life. Okay? You want to engage in positive self-talk by substituting all of the negative talk with positive ones. You need to act in faith, right, on things as if they are. The Bible says that you deal with things that are not as if they are. You speak things that are not as if they are. And so you need to really begin to do that reprogramming and begin to just rewrite things. So whether you do the daily affirmations, whether you begin to work on rewriting the new codes, and I'll show you exactly how you do that. You set goals and then you're able to put your achievement markers. I actually do that in the Runway to Soar program as well. And you need to have clear written plans. What is your spiritual vision? What is your vision for your life? And begin to engage in positive self-talk. So every time you begin to feel or think negative, you begin to naturally take something positive. Use a text. Many of us who are Christians, we believe in using the Bible. And that's the reason why I love working with Christian women, because the word of God and prayer is really important to me. And so when I'm thinking of, replacing the negative talk, I think about using the word of God to help me do that. Then the second thing you need to do is to rewrite these unconscious codes. You need to begin to go to the back end of your mind and your life and delete the old codes and rewrite new ones. I had an experience recently. When we were preparing to have this webinar 3 weeks ago, I was having a serious challenge, right? We were having a challenge because of JavaScript. So there were codes written in the back that were preventing me from being able to do that. So now what I had to do was to go in the back end and try to fix the problem. But guess what? I did not have the expertise. I do not have the experience because I don't know nothing about coding. So there I was in the back end of that, seeing all of these little things and written there and stuff on that screen. And I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. I need some help. And so now what happens for us as women, there are so many unconscious codes that we've been operating from for so long that we now need to go in the back end of our minds, begin to dig into our lives and think, how can these codes be rewritten? And then we begin to now rewrite these codes with the help of God. Begin to rewrite these codes, delete the old codes, get new codes, because that's what we had to do. We had to delete some of the old codes so we can put in new codes, not we. I'm saying we because I hired the right people to do it. And put in the new codes so that on the front line, when you go to register, everything was correct. But all of that was done from the back end. And so if you begin to apply that in your life and realize, hey, there are some of these old codes that need to go. They are outdated codes. They are codes that are not serving me. They're not taking me closer to where I need to be, and so on. And then the third thing you need to do is to undo the learned behaviors. There are these behaviors that have been really affecting you. You need to begin to relearn. Because when I speak to people on prayer, I always start with saying to them, you know what? we were never really taught how to pray. We were taught how to repeat prayers, for example, right? And so now we repeat these prayers, but we're not knowing how to position ourselves to get more yes answers. We don't understand why we get no responses when we pray. We don't know how to distinguish the voice of God, for example. So now when I begin to present for a week of prayer, weekend of prayer, anything, I set the foundation that we need to begin to relearn things. We need to unlearn the things that we learned that were not serving us and reach to that point of relearning new things, the self-defeating behaviors. And one of the ways that you can do that is to tag your behavior. Every time you come across a self-defeating behavior, tag it, because now you're living consciously. So you're able to see it. You put a tag there and ask yourself a question. Where is that behavior coming from? Why am I behaving this way in this situation? And what can I do? What code can I rewrite so that I could actually do better at that? And I'm going to share with you an example of how you can do that. And that's taken right from the Runway to Soar program. We look at, for example, a false belief like I can only be successful in an area that I studied or trained for, right? I cannot launch my business during a crisis. Then we have an example of a new code. The Lord has gifted me. He's given me the gifts, the code that goes with that first one. Therefore, I can live a successful life around my purpose, passion, or hobby, right? That's rewriting a code. The second one is my business is exactly what the market needs right now. I am amazed that so many of us are thinking as if this is the end, that things are just going downward. I can tell you the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'll give you some examples in a little while, right? There is too much noise online right now because everybody's online. There's no way I can compete or afford to do that. But if you rewrite that code with the right systems in place, I can attract the right clients reliably, consistently, and affordably, and even increase, and even with the increased competition. And so you see the difference between the false beliefs and rewriting the new codes. So rewriting these codes, you must be intentional. These are not things that are going to happen by chance or overnight, but you must be intentional. That's why you have to tag your behavior. You need to be very intentional about your reprogramming. You need to be very intentional about rewriting the codes. Other than that, you will not be able to identify these and realize that this is actually possible. I can rewrite these old codes. I can get rid of them, and I can begin to operate from these new codes so that the front end, how I show up online, how I do things on the front end will be different. And so we need to do that. And so in just a minute, I'll share with you one of the biggest mistakes most of us women make when we want to become successful. But before I do that, let me close the loop on something I actually shared earlier, and I wanted to make this a no-brainer offer for you. So one of the things that I am going to do, or I thought it was here, but I'm not seeing it here. I'm almost sure I did that earlier for you, but it's not showing up. So since it's not showing up, I'm just going to tell you about it, right? I'm really sad that it's not there. And so we have for you, any of the women who actually sign up on the call today, a few bonuses to really make this a no-brainer offer for you. We wanted to be able to ensure that you are able to do what you're meant to do and do it successfully. And so we created this no-brainer offer. I am going to just kind of try to paste it in here and see if that works. Working on the scene right now, that's actually crazy, but I am able to just do that and share with you so that you can see what it is we want to be able to give you today. Okay, so the free bonus access, you're going to get free bonus access, number one, to the certified prayer counselor class. You're going to get another bonus if you sign today, which is a free deep dive session with me at the end of your program. So at the end of your program, after you've gone through your 8 modules, your 8 weeks of the program, you will book a free deep dive session with me. Then that 3-part freedom mindset shift training, it's a 3-day live training program, question and answer session, and so on, which we will do. It's 2 hours every day, and I'll send out the dates via email. We will meet and we will work on that mindset shifting because that's really important, but you're going to get that as part of your bonus. And also, when everything is back to normal, we have the Wow Women Empowerment event, you are free to enter at which one of these events are in your actual location. And so these are some of the bonuses that you will get if you sign up right now at the Runway to Soar to access them. So what's one of the biggest mistakes that most of us women make is firstly not recognizing one that you have that true purpose. I honestly can't emphasize that enough because I know how damaging that was when I began to work into that space of recognizing that Jeremiah 1 verse 5 is important for me to understand that I have that true purpose, that you have that true purpose, and that your purpose matters. And that the most success that you can get is surrounded or aligned with that purpose. Because when I think of people like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and all of these people that we actually love and we use their products, it's because these people created lives around what they were passionate about and what they believed their purpose was. And so now we could go into the question and answer segment. I'm going to just check here to see. Um, okay, somebody was helping me on this. They say when I share the screen, it worked. Thank you so much, Veronique. Veronique, I think she's also in France. Thank you for being here. And so, ladies, I will answer some of the frequently asked questions. I will also go into the chat and I'll just check to see if Corey sent me anything as well. And so I see some people sharing the type of mindsets that they have. Somebody shared that they're on their way to new professional experiences. Veronique, I started training for one, she's doing some new training and so on. So I am going to answer some of the frequently asked questions. You can put them right here in the chat for me. One of the questions, there was a lot of people are saying that living in your true purpose is really living in your life, in your passion, and you cannot really get success, right? These are one of the frequently asked questions. But my answer to this is, and I'll repeat that question, a lot of people are saying living in your true purpose is really living around your passion and it cannot create or bring you success. So one of the ways I'm going to answer that question is to remind you of a text in the Bible where it says your gifts will make room for you. If you ladies remember that text, it says your gifts will make room for you. It means that the place of your success is really surrounded by the gift that you have been given by God. That purpose for which you've been created, that thing that he sets you apart for, that he says in Jeremiah 1 verse 5. Another frequently asked question is, can I make a business out of what I think is just my hobby? Ladies, you can write your responses, what you think to that while I answer the question, right? Can I make a business out of what I think is just my hobby? So I grew up on the small island, right, of St. Lucia, where the traditional careers, for example, were to be, especially for us women, you know, doctor, lawyer, teacher, nurse, right? Anything outside of that was thought to be a hobby. And people believed that it could not create success for you. In fact, when I was growing up, I did not know anybody where I grew up or anybody at all who were doing international speaking as a career. I never saw that, right? But I had to live outside of that, right? To understand that this is not the case, that my life or my success can be created around what God has called me to do and also around what my purpose is. So far, I've traveled to over 70 countries. And if you told me a few years ago that I would be traveling around the world as a paid international speaker, you know, even in this COVID crisis, I've been so busy just showing up everywhere, speaking here and there, that I actually took June off because I only spoke Saturday and the rest of June I'm not speaking. And I was supposed to be filming on 3ABN today from yesterday until Thursday, but I actually asked to push it back so that I can work on preparing these presentations for the second season of the Missing Piece, my prep program on 3ABN, because I have not had time in the past 3 months because I've been so busy working online with people and doing other programs. And so if you told me a few years ago that I would have been able to interact with thousands of people globally, right, and reach millions of people, you know, via international Christian TV networks, sell thousands of copies of my books and so on, I would think that was not possible because I was not taught to believe that your business could be surrounded around something that, you know, is just your purpose for your calling. And so I was able to realize that that's not the case. And that's how I'm answering that question. We have another question here. Why can't I just have a regular job and do my passion on the side? That's a legitimate question, right? Why can't I do that? Why can't I just have a regular job and do my passion on the side? So the thing is, my answer to that question is going to be, how long are you willing to work on building the empire of someone else? How long do you want to live with the feeling of discontentment? How long will you be willing to do something? As one of the ladies I spoke with yesterday, one of my discovery calls, saying to me that I have no passion for the job. I've already mastered everything that they taught me to do, and I just do it right now. I don't feel anything. There's nothing in it for me. How long are you willing to stay in a job and feel that way versus living or doing something that excites you to wake up every day, doing something that you do and feel fulfilled doing it, doing something that makes you feel as if you're making an impact, that you're making a difference in the world, that what you do matters. How long are you willing to wait? And so you could check out the Runway to Soar, www.runwaytosoar.com. Corey put it there in the chat to sign up. And so this program is priced in a way that you have access to me as your coach, but you can still do it on your own time. It's get to help you receive guidance, implement what you're learning, and position yourself in the market. If you want to implement even a fraction of what I'll teach you, you will experience great success. There are so many testimonies of the ladies who have gone through the Runway to Soar program, and I mean, it's just an amazing experience. I'm thinking I might just call on one of these ladies. I'm just thinking, if any of you ladies who went through the Runway to Soar, I know you're here. I know we have Janice here. I know we have Dania here. We have Janice here. We have Geralda here. If any of you want to share your testimony briefly, we can actually do that live. Just raise your hand and I'll actually add you as a participant. But the thing is, the testimonies have been circulated in social media, and they're also on the Runway to Soar page. So truly, one of the things I want to say to you, it's not your fault. If you did not think or believe that you had a true purpose, and uncovering it is a direct route to your success, it's really not your fault. But now that you know this is the case, I want you to understand that it's important for you to be aligned. Are you afraid that your true purpose cannot create the desire or for the success that you're looking for? Are you afraid that it may not bring you the income that you want and give you the freedom that you can work from anywhere, which is one of the other blessings of being able to work and do something that is aligned with the will of God for you, because it also allows you that freedom to work from anywhere. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. Okay, I see. Yes, so ladies, Dania, Geralda, any of you, if you want to share, if not, it's fine. The testimonies are there on the page. But just in case you want to share your experience of what it was like going through the Runway to Soar program, there is okay, Dania says, if you make your hobby your profession, I believe you would be at your best performance. And Dania, I totally agree with you, you know? And so that's one of the things that we need to focus on. And when we're thinking about living in our true purpose, it's really about living that life that is aligned with it and getting that success. And so sometimes as women, we are afraid that when we live in our true purpose, we are not going to get the success because we've been indoctrinated to believe, we've been taught to believe that can't bring you success. Because I used to think that the only path to success was good education, a great job, and a good salary. Few perks, health benefits, and I was good to go. And so in the Runway to Soar, women are inspired to defy that norm and create a life that is on their own terms. So if you're ready to step out and use this time of pause that God has gifted us with to design the life that you have always dreamed of, the Runway to Soar is a perfect start for you. You can go to the registration link so that you can get the bonuses. The truth is, as we close, I know this is the end of the webinar, and I wanted to show you how you can create that life-changing kind of experience by uncovering your true purpose and really living a life that is designed around it, right? So I wanted to be able to share with you all of that stuff. I also, when I moved to the US, I did not know anyone really. I did not have any contacts, but I had an idea of what God wanted me to do. So I was traveling to the UK. I was doing some engagements here and there. And so I'm reaching out to people internationally on my side. I ensured that my CV was always updated. I spent a lot of time in prayer and fasting, seeking wisdom, and kept on reaching out to people because nobody knew me. So my I would send my stuff to them, my CV. I would meet them at programs, and I would actually introduce myself to them. And I knew that I was operating in my true purpose, and I felt that if I kept connected with God for guidance and I did my part in reaching out to people who did not know me, it was only a matter of time that the right people would actually connect with me. And I've lived to see it in my runway, for example, speaker mentorship program. I encourage the women I work with to reach out to people, introduce yourself to them, let them know that you're there. Because I've seen that throughout the years, even when people don't respond to me right away, it takes years sometimes, they'll write and say, oh, I just checked my email and I saw you sent me an email a few years ago. Can I still work with you? And so putting yourself in the market is a big part of what you can do to be able to get there. And Verlene asked, can I sign up for the certified prayer counselor class? Yes, you can sign up for the certified prayer counselor class. You can. I can have the link for you. The other thing is, if you actually sign up for the Runway to Soar Coaching Experience, which is $9.97 today, and with the registration, if you sign up for that class, you actually get free access to the certified prayer counselor class. That, in addition to all of the other bonuses that I actually mentioned. So Geralda, I see that you say you're multitasking. That's fine. So if you want to share your experience about the Runway to Soar, Dania, if you want to share, if any of you want to share what that experience was like for you in terms of getting you out of where you were to where you desire to be, or just helping you to become aware that you can do that, then I will actually make you a participant so that you can actually share on screen. And so the truth is, now after doing all of what I've been doing in terms of reaching out and so on, I get to work with women globally, and I serve them for less than a quarter of the cost that I had to pay, for example, to hire my coaches and so on, because my desire is to be able to mentor, support, and hold the hands of my clients and move them from fear to freedom. That's what I actually desire for you. And so I thank you for being on this call. If you have any unanswered questions, because I've addressed a few of them, you can email me at nadine@nadinecollins.com. If you want to actually get that shift today and you really want to move, you could move. You could actually visit Runway to Soar and sign up. I see somebody says they're reaching out to people is great. However, very difficult for people who are shy. Networking is really difficult for me. I guess that's why I'm stuck on the unknown. I understand what you're saying, but if you're really intentional about wanting to leave, we have to step outside of our comfort zone. Because if you are a businesswoman, part of it is being fierce, and it means that you need to be able to step out of your own self. And I don't want to talk about recreating yourself, but the thing is, I know that there are introverted women leaders, but if you want to do a business, you have to be willing to network. You have to put yourself out there. There's no way anybody can know that you exist or that you are in the market selling if you're not showing up in the market. So it's really about getting outside of your comfort zone. That's what I'm saying. When I had to preach, it was not in my comfort zone. I'm not a preacher, I'm not a theologian, but I had to be willing to do something that I've never done before. I remember one friend used to say to me, if you want something you never had, you need to do something you've never done. And so if you want that success, you want to create that success, you have to step outside of your comfort zone to begin to reach out to people. I did not know anybody here. I was going online on websites, just checking out people, looking for email addresses, introducing myself to people, making calls. Some of these calls were never answered. Some of these emails were never answered, but that didn't stop me from doing the same thing the next year when I'm planning for my year. And so you have to be willing to put yourself out there so that you could get it what you're looking for, because success is not something that will come without work. It does not come without intention. You have to be willing to do that. And so one person is asking for the name of that book. I can actually post that in the ladies group. It's About Mindset by Carol Dweck. Let me see if I get that here for you. I would post it in in the chat so that everybody can have access to it. It's called Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. And so mindset is literally everything. That's why I'm going to also give that bonus of having that 3-day training about mindset, because I realize that this is where many of us as women are stuck, having that right mindset for success. And so, ladies, this is all. If there are no more questions and if nobody's going to share what their testimonies were, all of these ladies have already shared their testimonies. It's on the Runway to Soar page. If you visit Runway to Soar, www.runwaytosoar.com, all of the testimonies are there. It's also in the Facebook, the women's Facebook group. If you are there or if you're my friend on Facebook, these testimonies have been shared over the past few weeks. I want to thank all of you for being on the call with me, and those of you who are live with us, and also for all of these ladies who went through the program, who so willingly shared what the experience was like. And so, ladies, thank you for being here. I wish you a blessed day. And remember, if you are a quick action taker, there are many bonuses that you're going to get, including having full access to the Certified Prayer Counselor class. And I think it was Verlene who asked about the Certified Prayer Counselor class. Verlene, just send me a direct message. I could get that link to you. My hands are not working as fast as I could. Otherwise, I would have it right here for you, and Corey's gone. If there are no more questions, we're going to end now. And I thank you so much. Donna Williams Gillis said, thanks much. This presentation was well received. If any of you just, you welcome Veronique. Thank you for being with us all the way from France. Lydie, all of the ladies from Kenya, from South Africa, from different parts of the world, St. Lucia, Canada, Cayman Islands. I'm looking at all of you ladies here. I wish you a blessed afternoon. Again, thanks for being here with us. And you can visit the runwaytosoar.com page, where you learn a little more about the Runway to Soar program and how that program can help you make that shift. God bless you, ladies. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Claudia. You're welcome, Geralda. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Macarena. Yes, Lydie, thank you for being here. Nikki, thank you. Blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.